Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And so apparently that's all it took. All it took for Jen Psaki to be just a little bit honest was for her to change jobs. Well, would you look at that? Everyone kept praising Jen Psaki and even now Karine Jean-Pierre, Jen Psaki 2.0, except 10 times worse, as being so honest and returning integrity to the White House press secretary position. A complete farce. Even left-wing Joe Rogan laughs at that idea, or laughs at that notion. But don't you find it funny how Jen Psaki was so utterly dishonest her entire time as press secretary, refusing to answer any questions, refusing to be even remotely honest or fair or impartial when it came to the Brandon regime, of course the regime that she was hired to defend and protect, against all statistics and facts that pointed otherwise. The moment she leaves that position and joins MSNBC, all of a sudden, the truth starts to seep out at least just a little bit. As Jen Psaki, showing up as a panelist on Chuck Todd's Meet the Press at MSNBC, just claimed that if the midterm election is a referendum on the president, Democrats will lose. She's essentially saying Joe Biden is a disaster, and if it's a referendum on the president, it's game over for the DNC. If even Jen Psaki's saying it, well then you know what that means. Let me show you guys exactly what she said. Let's talk about it, and then let's go a little bit into the White House strategy ahead of the midterms and why I think it's doomed to fail. We've got some stuff to get into, friends, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so take a look at this. They will lose. Jen Psaki concedes that Democrats can't let midterms be about Biden. Former White House press secretary Jen Psaki conceded on Sunday that if the Democrat Party allowed the first approaching midterm elections to be a referendum on President Joe Biden, that they would certainly lose. Jen Psaki, who just recently transitioned from her gig at the Biden White House to a position at MSNBC, joined Sunday morning for a broadcast of Meet Press. And she told anchor Chuck Todd that if the Democrats were wise, they would intentionally try to keep the focus on extremism, particularly the Republican Party. Take a look at this.
I'm not sure how this is either really effective or you're trying to get the voter to take two issues and tie them together. You're trying too hard. I don't know, but an interesting response.
Yeah, look, I think that Democrats, if the election is about who is the most extreme, as we saw, Kevin McCarthy touch on there with Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'll say her name, sitting over his left side, then they're going to win. If it is a referendum on the president, they will lose, and they know that. They also know that crime is a huge vulnerability for Democrats. I would say one of the biggest vulnerabilities.
Well, is it just me, or did Jen Psaki just essentially admit the quiet part out loud? That the Biden White House, with this whole semi-fascism nonsense, is merely playing politics. It's merely a political distraction away from this failed regime. Even dishonest, lying hack, top Biden regime propagandist, or I guess in this case, ex-top Biden regime propagandist, Jen Psaki, can admit that. Isn't it funny how the moment she steps out of her role, all of a sudden, she has at least this very limited ability to kind of tell the truth? I mean, to be completely honest, it was probably more of a Freudian slip, if anything. I think what she was really trying to do was advocate for the Democrats to continue calling Republicans MAGA racists and semi-fascists, and who knows what the next Republican caricature is going to be. Essentially trying to turn Donald Trump and the Republican Party and Trump supporters as cartoon villains. That seems to be their strategy, and Jen Psaki seems to be saying, do more of that, and less actual focus on, policy and the current performance of this administration. Man, I cannot stand these people and their cynical politicking. This shows you exactly who the Democrats are. This shows you what the establishment world of politics is all about. What Joe Biden should be doing, what the Democrats should be doing ahead of the midterms, is telling you what they're going to do for you. How they're going to fix the economy, how they're going to balance the budget, how they're going to secure the border and make safe communities, how they're going to deliver for the American people, but instead, they are telling you outright now that their strategy is to inject venom into the political discussion, into the political sphere, and to continue their demonization of their political opponents. That is disgusting, but unfortunately, it's also par for the course. You have a group of people that somehow stumbled into power, screwed everything up. It actually goes back to the same metaphor that I was constantly using when we were making Jen Psaki videos months and months ago, how her job is essentially to clean up the room before the American people, which are in this case represented as the mother or the father, checking in on the child to see if they're tidying up their room. And what Jen Psaki does is take everything and shove it in the closet right before the parent walks in. Well, that's exactly what's going on here. This regime has screwed everything up, and instead of actually cleaning up their damn mess, they are in total denial of reality mode. That is all we are seeing. The Daily Wire actually had a piece on the same topic. White House midterm plan, deny reality. The White House cannot admit the truth about the state of the country, so they are doing the next best thing, denying any problem exists at all, especially as it relates to the economy, the border, and life in the womb. Biden, known for tall tales and wandering aimlessly, apparently has his press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre focused on dodging any difficult question. Instead, she simply spews nonsense. On Friday, Karine Jean-Pierre stated that Biden is working to bring down inflation without sacrificing all of the historic gains that we made this past year and life-changing economic gains this country has made over the last 19 months. What? You know, life-changing gains like the stock market being down 20 to almost 30% across the board. Most tech stocks down 60%. Historic gains, folks. Absolute morons, excuse my French. Historic economic gains, you know, like average households spending more than $5,000 a year on basic necessities. Historic economic and financial gains. I'm actually getting angry just covering this. All they're doing is denying reality. I mean, last week, Karine Jean-Pierre literally said that the border is secure. In the last less than 2 years, there have been, I believe, roughly around 3.6 million border apprehensions. Does that sound like a secure border to you? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say that's probably more than Donald Trump's 4 years combined. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's correct, and if it's not correct, it's certainly close to correct. The border is secure, there's no border crisis, there's no recession, we're in a period headed towards slow economic growth, the stock market's not crashing, we're making historic gains. Wages aren't down, wages are up. Am I stupid? When you look at me, even though I don't have a face cam on, does it say stupid on my forehead? Is how I feel every single time I listen to Joe Biden or Karine Jean-Pierre speak. Frankly, the whole lot of them. Actually, on that whole border is secure thing, a conservative journalist caught Jen Psaki of all people on the street and asked her for comment.
Ms. Psaki?
Yeah.
Could I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Okay, I'm Ben with Real America's Voice News.
Oh, hi. I'm not going to do any interviews, but it's nice to meet you.
I'm just wondering though, are you disappointed that they replaced you with, instead of circling back, somebody who openly lies about the border crisis that Joe Biden's created?
Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. I'm just wondering, you've got Karine Jean-Pierre who says the border's secure, but you know it's a lie. Joe Biden knows it's a lie. MSNBC knows it's a lie. Do you think they'll ever be held accountable?
Have a nice day. Nice to meet you.
Of course, leftoids are outraged over this video. How dare you harass her in the street? But this is real journalism, folks. It's not illegal to ask a public official a question in the street. And not to mention the absolute hypocrisy when, what was it, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, Jen Psaki said this?
So I know that there's an outrage right now, I guess, about protests that have been peaceful to date, and we certainly continue to encourage that outside of judges' homes, and that's the president's position.
Intimidating SCOTUS justices, totally acceptable to the left. Asking Jen Psaki a question in relation to dishonest messaging coming out of the current White House. Well, that's targeted harassment. Absolutely stupid, but the video itself makes the point for me that American people, regular people, have questions. They have questions and they're demanding answers. They're demanding solutions to their problems and answers to their questions. And all they're getting from this regime and the orbit that surrounds it is a whole load of nothing, a whole load of coping, propaganda, lies, and total denial of reality. And now Jen Psaki is essentially telling us the quiet part out loud that that's basically the strategy. That's the status quo. That's just the way politics is. Politicians politicking. Avoid the current actual reality because it doesn't benefit us, and rather distract about this supposed extremist threat on the other side. And how funny is that? Democrats win on the discussion of extreme extremism, says the party of third trimester abortion, says the party burning down communities, says the anti-free speech and anti-civil liberties party, says the party enabling crime and releasing criminals. Yeah, you know that party that wants small government and less taxation and secure borders? That's the party of extremism, they tell you. That's the party that you should be scared of. I don't even know if the American people are buying that one, folk, but that seems to be the Democrat Hail Mary play. And I don't know, seems to me like a cynical strategy, seems to me utterly dishonest, seems to me that this whole thing of political extremism and domestic political extremist threat seems like that's probably at the bottom of the list when it comes to priorities for likely voters. I think what likely voters are looking at is the economy and, I don't know, results, policy results. And no matter how much the Democrats try to steer the conversation the other way with all of their cynical, despicable, slanderous, defamatory tactics, at the end of the day, the Democrats always make this mistake. They're underestimating the basic intelligence of the average American voter. Most people can see right through this stuff, and most people are going to cast their votes as a direct referendum on the current Democrat leadership. At the end of the day, just like Joe Biden said all of those months ago, actually it was over a year ago at this point, after the whole Afghanistan debacle, or rather, let me rephrase that, what he was forced to say after the whole Afghanistan withdrawal failure, that the buck stops with him. At the end of the day, that's true. That is absolutely correct. The buck stops with the Democrat leadership currently in charge, and I think that's probably exactly what we're going to see during these midterms. Jen Psaki seems to be warning all the vote blue no matter who Democrats watching MSNBC of that clear, imminent reality. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel if you guys are up for it. I'm going to get back to work. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.